I already answered where I think Plug Power stock will be by the end of 2024. But I've got some questions from investors asking me where I think Plug Power stock price could be in 2025. So I'll do that in this video. I'll give you my best estimate for where I think Plug Power stock price will be 2 years from now. So let's dig into the details. Let's look at the estimates and assumptions I'm going to use to make this stock price prediction. And I'm going to show you everything and the different scenarios so you can see yourself and tell me where you think Plug Power stock price will be.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so one of the numbers I'm going to need to make my prediction is the current stock price. And today, Plug Power stock price had an excellent day. The company came out with some great news and the stock price exploded higher. It's at $3.34 per share today. The company secured the loan from the Department of Energy for $1.6 billion. And it also announced that production in its Georgia facility is finally up and running. Investors have been waiting months and months for this facility to finally start producing green energy and bring down Plug Power's cost of goods sold. The other number I'm going to need is Plug Power's price to sales ratio. As of this recording, Plug Power is trading at a price to sales ratio of 2.225. I'm going to need this to make my estimate. Okay, I'm also going to need Plug Power's revenue estimate for fiscal year 2025. And that's the number right here, $2.46 billion for fiscal year 2025, which ends in December 2025 for Plug Power. This number I'm going to use to make my estimate for where I think Plug Power's revenue will be. Now remember, this number comes from Wall Street analysts that are following Plug Power stock. They submit their forecasts for where they think Plug Power's revenue will be in 2025. And this is a collection from all of those analysts and the consensus number from those analysts on Wall Street. So some analysts might think actually that Plug Power will bring in much higher revenue, and some think that it will be much lower. This is the average, the consensus among those analysts. All right, so now that we've looked at the estimates and the assumptions, let's look at some more figures. So here I have Plug Power's diluted shares outstanding. This number here, the 599,465,000, I got directly from Plug Power. This is reported on their latest income statement. You can check that out yourself. And I'm assuming that Plug Power will increase the number of shares outstanding by 500 million. By 500 million, almost double. And I still think that this is an underestimation of where their diluted shares outstanding will be by the end of 2025. Just about a week ago, Plug Power announced a massive stock sale where they raised $1 billion in capital by selling stock. That's not yet reported in Plug Power's income statements. You'll see that in their next income statement that comes out. Those dilutive impacts will be in that income statement. Still, I don't think even with that $1 billion that they raised from the stock sale and the $1.6 billion in the loan from the Department of Energy is going to be enough money to keep Plug Power alive for the next 2 years. I'm going to show you this one line item here. The company owes $3.357 billion in a debt maturity that's going to come due December 31st, 2024. It doesn't have enough money to pay that. Even if you include the $1.6 billion loan plus the $1 billion that it raised, that's only $2.6 billion. And if I show you how much cash they had, as of their latest cash and short-term investments was just 567 million. So if you combine all of that, that will barely exceed $3.1 billion, and they owe 3.37. Now, that would not be as big a problem if the company wasn't bleeding cash from the bottom line. I can show you its cash flow from operations in the trailing 12 months for the last 3 years. Look at this straight downward trend. That's not a nice looking trend here for cash flow from operations. $1.17 billion in cash outflow in the trailing 12 months. So the company is roughly burning $100 million every month. So for the next year, if this pace continues, which it's actually getting worse, it's not improving, it's not even stable, they will lose $1.2 billion in cash flow from operations. Although management did say they're going to work on reducing this by spending less on capital projects, by spending less on working capital, but that remains to be seen if they can actually achieve that. So for those reasons, I think Plug Power is going to sell more stock and dilute shareholders even more. And so I'm giving a conservative estimate here of 1.1 billion diluted shares outstanding by the end of 2025. So if we take that $2.46 billion revenue estimate that I got from Wall Street consensus estimates, and we divide it by the number of shares outstanding, we get a sales per share of $2.24. I'm just dividing the revenue estimate with my estimate for how many shares outstanding will be available by the end of 2025. So now let me draw your attention here to my valuation model. If the revenue comes in at $2.24 per share, as I am estimating, and its valuation stays the same at a price to sales of 2.22, that's according to the current price to sales ratio, 2.22, then the estimated stock price could be $4.97 by the end of 2025. Now that would be a significant increase from where the stock price is trading at today, which was $3.34. So that would be an increase of about $1.60 or roughly 50% over the next 2 years. Now, Plug Power stock investors will probably say, well, that's not that much because the stock price is down a lot more than that in the last couple of years. Stock price used to trade at over $60 per share. Investors were hoping for a bigger number in 2 years. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be much bigger. I don't even think it's going to reach $4.97, to be honest. If I was to look at it, I would say that the price to sales ratio is actually going to decrease. If it decreases to 1.75, Plug Power's stock price could be $3.92 by the end of 2025, which would be a 60-cent increase from where it's at now. Again, I don't think Plug Power stock investors would be thrilled with that kind of return, but it would be a return, it would be an increase, which would be different from where Plug Power stock has been in the last 3 years, which has just been straight downward. If the price to sales were even worse, at 1.25, the stock price could fall to $2.80, or it could even go down to 0.75, where the stock price would more than halve to $1.68. Now, if you were to ask me, my best guess for where I think Plug Power stock will be is at a price to sales of 1.75 with the revenue of $2.24. So the stock price around $3.80 per share to $4.15 per share. Now, that price prediction, that Plug Power stock price prediction, comes with a lot of risks because this is an extremely volatile stock. The stock is up 20% today alone. So it could hit this price point in 1 day and exceed that price in 1 day. But also, the stock price could fall by 50% in 1 month. That's how volatile this stock is. That's how volatile this company is because it's losing so much money on the bottom line. Management has said it's almost at the brink of being at risk of going out of business. It issued that warning in its latest quarterly statement. So that makes it extremely volatile. So investors need to be aware of the heightened risk of Plug Power stock. Even though, if I had to estimate, I would estimate that the stock price will be higher 2 years from now. If the company is around 2 years from now, I think the stock price is going to be higher 2 years from now. If you liked the video you just saw and you want to see more just like it, please subscribe to the channel. I can't keep this channel free without the support of viewers like you. And if you're already subscribed, thank you, and I appreciate your support.